Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on a double shooting in which two brothers were killed. And we got this kid claiming self-defense that they tried to rob, and he only did what he thought he should do. March 24th, 2021, reports came in for a shooting on the top floor of the Motel 6 in Columbus, Georgia, around 6:15 p.m. Police arrived on scene finding two dead men that turned out to be brothers and a man claiming self-defense. Room 524 was being rented by a man named Richard Williams, also known as Red, and his 25-year-old cousin Jacob Martel, who was listed as a guest. After checking into the room, Red left to go grab food from a nearby Burger King and picked up Jacob's wife, who was incarcerated at the Muskogee County Jail and set to be released that day. After picking her up, Red made his way back to the motel when he got a call from Jacob asking him to bring a gun he had in the vehicle up to the room. He gently pushed the motel door open with his foot as he carried a backpack and a bag of food, but he dropped it all when he saw two men in the room with Jacob he didn't expect to be there. He pulled the gun out, backed out of the doorway onto the breezeway, shouting for bystanders at the motel to call police. A confrontation ensued between Red and the unknown men in the room that was recorded by motel surveillance, showing one of the men sticking his head out of the room, shouting at Red, who was yelling back at him. Jacob then came out of the room and grabbed a gun from Red as one of the unknown men came out of the room carrying a gray duffel bag. That's when Jacob opened fire. 3 to 4 shots rang off and the man dropped to the ground along with the bag. Jacob then ran back into the room where the second man was and fired at him, striking him once in the back. Neither of them were now moving and they both laid face down on the ground. Jacob and Red grabbed a gray duffel bag the man dropped and another black bag that came from inside of the motel room. They hid both bags in the first floor stairwell, and when police arrived, Jacob and Red were more than willing to tell it all. Jacob went on to tell investigators he planned to meet 21-year-old Eric Giddens, known as Esco, to sell him a .380 handgun. Esco showed up with his brother, 22-year-old Quandarius Giddens, while Red was gone, and Jacob brought them to the room where he showed them the gun. Jacob and Red had left an undisclosed amount of weed out in the room. Esco pointed the gun at Jacob and told him they were going to rob him for everything he had. Red told investigators while he was on his way back, he got a call from Jacob to bring a gun up to the room. He didn't expect any visitors in the room and had no idea about what was going on. The two brothers were both pronounced dead at the scene, and while Quindarius was found with nothing on him, Esco was found with a BB gun in his front left pocket, the handle protruding out, but neither brother were found in possession of the .380 handgun. Police later found the gun along with marijuana inside the black bag Jacob and Red hid under the stairwell. Jacob claimed he only fired because Esco pointed the .380 gun at him, but both video and physical evidence show Esco never possessed or brandished that weapon. The video instead showed Jacob and Red attempting to conceal evidence. Esco's hands were empty when the shooting started, and Jacob and Red had 3 possible ways they could have escaped unharmed once Jacob left the room. But instead, Jacob grabbed a gun and took matters into his own hands. After reviewing the surveillance video, police found Jacob was excessive, went too far, and was not in immediate danger when he opened fire, so he was charged with 2 counts of murder and is being held without bond. At this time, charges have not been filed against Red, who was seen on video attempting to conceal evidence, and police recovered a total of 4 firearms from the scene, including the murder weapon. Now there's a couple of things to point out specifically in this case. The first thing is that when the brothers were found, they were found face down on the ground. When the first one was shot, he was shot in his back, attempting to run out of the room. Jacob then went into the room, going after the second brother, and shot him in his back. Self-defense, stand your ground, whatever you want to call it. There isn't a way to say that your life was being threatened when someone has their back turn to you, right? Because how are they gonna shoot you? And at the same time, neither one of them were in possession of any weapon when it actually happened. Even if so-and-so had a BB gun on him in his pocket, it remained in his pocket. And while he was on video being killed, there was no gun or BB gun in his hand. Now, if this is actually true and they tried to rob him, Jacob fucked up when he said they pointed a 380 at him. If he said they pointed the gun and that turned out to be the BB gun, that might have made things a little bit better. But saying that they pointed a 380 and then they weren't caught with the 380, the 380 was in the bag that he brought out of the room. Jacob went back into the room with a gun. Why would you go back in there with a gun if you assume that the person in the room has a gun already? Why would you walk into a firefight? You know what I mean? I don't think this kid had balls like that. What I'm thinking happened, if they even did try to rob him, was he felt pussy. You know what I mean? He felt pussy and scared in the moment. He didn't have anything in there to defend himself with, even though somehow 4 guns were recovered on scene, unless they just didn't have any bullets. But when he got out and grabbed the gun from his cousin, he felt like he had balls again, and you know, he did what he did out of adrenaline, out of aggression, etc. But as far as self-defense, I think this kid's fucked. I don't think it's gonna work out for him. And what I find funny as hell is the police felt that he was excessive, that he went too far, that he was not in immediate danger. But the police in America are smoking shit left and fucking right. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, green, whatever. You do anything, the police are gunning your ass the fuck down. And there's countless videos of this shit happening. You might drive off in your car and they dump off into that shit just because you drove off. Oh, well, if he pulled a U-turn, he could have hit me, so I shot him 20 times. And they're beating these fucking cases. So I find it funny that the police of all people felt that somebody was excessive with what they did. But self-defense, nah. I don't see it happening. And honestly, I feel like the cousin is gonna get charged with something to do with concealing that evidence, hiding that evidence. Even though he did back up with the gun, shout for people to call 911. You can't hide evidence. You would have just been better letting everything stay there, whatever. And what was the reason they're trying to hide it? If you're already admitting that you were there to sell a fucking gun, what are you hiding shit for? The gun, the weed, it's not a good look, but you admitted to it all anyways. So what's the point of hiding it? Now, if this was a robbery, I don't know why this kid's showing up with a fucking BB gun. I mean, he's in videos with guns, you know what I'm saying? Like flexing guns, freestyling shit. I don't know if those are BB guns. But apparently this kid's supposed to be a GD. He's from the projects in Columbus, Georgia. They had the balloon ceremony, etc. And you know, they got the 6-point stars and all that shit. He's gangbanging, right? But his teacher posted multiple pictures of him, you know, saying that he was one of her students. He's a graduate. I don't know what it is with these gang-banging high school fucking graduates. Like I said in the last video that I just did of the kid that was in California that was 18 and got killed, was supposedly shot 34 times, played soccer in high school and graduated. You know what I mean? Like the kid in Orlando, Glock 9's homeboy, graduated high school. Like if y'all are doing good in fucking school, what happens in the next 2 to 3 years that all of a sudden you're gangbanging and become savages and find yourselves in situations where you get killed? It doesn't really make sense to me, because if you are responsible enough to go to fucking school and get good enough grades to graduate, I don't know how you fuck up after that. I was fucked up before I finished school. Freshman year, I was getting investigated by the police at Brooks the Bartolo on 15th and Fowler in Tampa because they thought I was selling ecstasy and guns. So for me, it wasn't something that just happened. I continuously got worse throughout middle school into high school until I found myself in prison while my friends were graduating. But it just goes to show that life can change direction so fast and you can find yourself in a position like this. But hey, it's 1090 J. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. Till next time.